Hello, everybody. Welcome to another 5-Minute Stories with Miss Ashley. Today, I have a special friend with me. This is Finnegan the skeleton, and he is known throughout all the land to have a humongous appetite. Oh, my goodness. And tonight, he's going to visit Halloween Town, where all the monsters gather for a big Halloween feast. But you see, Finnegan here, he has a little bit of a reputation for not sharing. He likes to gobble everything up. And he goes around with a giant cooking pot, just like this, everywhere he goes. So when the monsters heard that Finnegan was coming to town, they quickly decided to hide all their favorite foods. The witches booby-trapped their jars of eyeballs, and the beasts locked up their frog legs, and they put them in the cellar and they swallowed the key like that. And all of the creatures hid their favorite food so that Finnegan wouldn't get any. So when Finnegan came to town, he thought it was rather odd that it was so empty and so quiet. The monsters had shut their doors on him. And he said, well, there's nothing else to do but to get out his big cooking pot and start cooking. So he got some firewood from the forest and he poured in his pot a bunch of swampy water and set it to boil. And he took out one very old bone, so old that it was all dried up on the ends. And he let it cook. And he stirred his pot. And as he stirred, he sang out really loud, "Bone soup, bone soup, delicious to eat, what a wonderful treat, bone soup." Well, his singing got all the monsters pretty curious about this bone soup, and they started to open their doors and peek out. And one little werewolf was brave enough to go up to Finnegan and peek inside his pot. "I've never heard of bone soup before, but I think I'd like it." "Oh," said Finnegan, "you would like it. In some places I've traveled, it's a delicacy." "Oh, but oh me, oh my, if only I'd had some spider's eggs. That would really spice up the flavor." "Oh, well." And the little werewolf said, "I have spider's eggs." And he ran home to go get his spider's eggs. And he came back and plopped them into the soup. And they started stirring the soup together and singing, "Bone soup, delicious to eat, what a wonderful treat, bone soup." And soon the air began to smell spicy and warm, and more monsters showed up. And then Finnegan cried out again, "Oh me, oh my, if only I had some bat wings for the soup. That would give it a really nice flavor." "Oh, well." And the ogre said, "Well, I have some bat wings. I guess I could share it with everyone." And he dropped his bat wings into the soup, kersplunk, just like that. And they watched as Finnegan stirred, and they all sang together, "Bone soup, delicious to eat, what a wonderful treat, bone soup." Until Finnegan cried out again, "Oh dear, oh my, if only I had some frog's legs. That would really do this justice. It would be fit for a king." And the mummies said, "Well, we have frog's legs." And they dumped them in, kersplunk, 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 kersplunk. There we go. And they all sang as Finnegan stirred, "Bone soup, delicious to eat, what a wonderful treat, bone soup." And soon all the monsters were so excited they wanted to make some bone soup too. So the witches added their pickled eyeballs, kersplunk, kersplunk, and the other monsters added their favorite things too, like their collection of toenails, and all kinds of monstery things. And pretty soon, as they stirred and they sang, the air began to smell absolutely wonderful, and everybody was so hungry. The werewolves were salivating. They were drooling, ready to eat. And Finnegan declared the soup was ready, and everyone dipped a little spoon in there to take just a tiny taste. So there was enough for everybody, and they all said, "Oh, this is the most delicious soup we've ever tasted." And then Finnegan, that sneaky skeleton, he opened his mouth real wide and slurped up the soup in just one bite. And that's why you should never trust a hungry skeleton. Isn't that a silly story? It's a fun one, too. Well, stay tuned for your literacy tip. And here is your literacy tip for this week. This story is a retelling of the picture book Bone Soup, written by Cambria Evans. It's a fun, not-so-spooky tale for children that's perfect for the Halloween season and has been retold many times with various characters and settings. Every storyteller brings their own personal flair to the story. It's one of my favorites to tell in a group setting because it offers so many options for children to participate in the story. Even young children who are just learning to speak will catch on and begin chanting "Bone Soup" along with Finnegan, and some might make monster noises. Try telling this story as a family and enjoy many laughs as your child performs. Happy reading!